A note on the kingdom. A film about a drama, action, taking place in Saudi Arabia, because that's the kingdom in the title, with a wonderful introduction which has the background, discovery oil, the Arab tribes, separation, artificial separation in British and French, and then what happened before the current um, tense situation, because indeed, even if Saudi Arabia, the kingdom, apparently is enjoying stability and peace, that's first of all provided by the oil money. There's a lot of money being splashed around, but there is the issue of the lower price of oil and what happens next. The Economist has the death of the combustion engine on the cover of its latest issue, and therefore, with the arrival of electric vehicles en masse, even OPEC has an estimate of something like 250 million cars, electric cars, by the year 2050. So they have to think what happens after the oil money runs out, because pretty soon we may need no more oil, even if that's more complicated, of course. And then there is the tension within. There is the official story, somewhat complex. They've recently accused Qatar of sponsoring terrorism, but citizens from Saudi Arabia have been clearly involved in terrorist acts, most infamously 9/11, and the Saudi men involved, Osama bin Laden, through a former friend to some degree of the Americans. The Americans made some mistakes while fighting by proxy the Soviets in Afghanistan, and then training the Taliban, which would turn against the Americans. But then Osama bin Laden used to be a prominent Saudi citizen. And all this constitutes somehow the background and maybe the core of the story, because in the film we have the tension exploding. This is where facts separate from fiction. The film makes a powerful point, as I see it, that indeed Saudis are a very delicate, sensitive spot. On one hand, indeed, they're the biggest oil producer, and then they can fluctuate, make the oil price fluctuate to some extent. More recently, it seems they couldn't push it upwards as they wished, but still, an important oil producer, vital, an ally to the West. But what happens if the population revolts and then throws out the ruling monarchy, and all this turns ugly? And this is the theme of the film, more or less. Otherwise, the plot is not, I would say it's just average, except for this part where we have something going on in the kingdom and attracts attention to Saudi Arabia, what's happening there and what could happen. And this could happen. Jamie Foxx is Ronald Fleury. We have Chris Cooper, Jason Bateman, who's Adam. He's a prisoner at one point. Jennifer Garner, who's Janet Mays. And bombs go off, many people are killed, FBI and American civilians stationed in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. And then there will be fights with children involved, fanatics, and that's for the American special team to, of course, to win over, to get in and have a splendid victory, shadowed by casualties, a victory over the forces of evil, terrorists and plotters who, in one indeed thrilling scene, event, as the American team is ready to pull out on the way to the airport in a convoy. They're attacked. There's a bomb, and then there's a shooting hell on the highway, and then a car chase, explosions again, people killed. They enter a building, guerrilla war, so to say. And as it happens, and we see that in at the news, breaking news, they even have children or young men, boys, really, involved in all this, on the side of the terrorists, of the fundamentalists, of course.